What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Coinbase today. Coinbase Global, as it says here. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, my friends. Let's get into it. Okay, here we are, sitting at about $275. It's been a while since I've talked about Coinbase, but you haven't gone anywhere, have you? You've just been consolidating ripely inside of this bull flag. Absolutely, it's a bull flag. It's beautiful. It looks perfect. From the low of the pole to the high right there of the pattern, right? We put this at the base. That gives you your measure move. Coinbase, when it breaks out, which at this point I would say anything above about 283 would do it, that would likely gear you for a move that's $100 higher at about 480 there, 479. And this is a bull flag. It's a measure move. It's not a requirement. It's an idea. You could fall short of it. You could exceed it. You could find resistance right at it and then continue to grow past it. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that this is where it stops. It's just an idea of what this next breakout move will look like. What do I mean by a breakout move? Well, if we look here, you see this area that you consolidated when you broke out to this next phase. Did it start here? Sure, this was the low, but I think this right here, that was the breakout move, right? It's just like this next move when you move up, sure, it started here, but we're not in that move now. It'll be more obvious when we are. So, right, like down here, that was your breakout move. I don't know. All I'm saying is likely the next target would take you about, to $480. Let's see if that makes sense from a fib perspective. If we take a high to a low here, you've got the 1272 consolidating like this. I got to say, makes me think that you would at least go to your 1618. So 427, nice. 480 is what we're looking for. So something to make sense out of that. If we were to go above 427, you likely would not stop at 480. You'd actually go up to about 509. Let's say 510 to 550. So this is a good, just looking at this fib here, again, the measure move takes us to something that's right in between the 1618 and the 1886. When it comes to the fibs are also just ideas. They're not requirements, but I like to think of them a little bit more seriously than I do measure moves. The fact that this measure move is super close to this 1886. It's less common to stop in this realm in between them. It's more common to at least go to the 1886. So I would think, being here at 275, basically 275, I would think that when you break out, when you see prices above 283, you're not stopping until $510 to $550. And when I say stopping, I don't mean forever. I just mean, you have a stopping point here that you've been in for the past couple months. Maybe you do that again. Your next stopping point, people, is above $500, potentially as high as $550. You're going to do a miraculous move in a very short amount of time. When do I expect this move to happen? That's a good question, right? I think that this move, being that Coinbase, it's not perfectly correlated to Bitcoin or crypto, but it is pretty correlated. I'm assuming crypto breaks out and starts having a good time by the end of this month and going into the end of March. So I would expect this move comes into full maturity, or at least is well underway by the end of March, right? I would expect that we are above $500, if not somewhere around 550 or higher by the end of March is my expectation for Coinbase. You look at this weekly RSI, it's phenomenal, man. It's very, very good looking, right? You had this higher low, higher high trend. You broke out of it. And what did you do whenever you broke out of it? You consolidated from March until November, March of 2024 until November, right? You just broke out of this very long phase of consolidation. You had your start, and now you're kind of loading up the truck, right? This is your last call. I have a feeling that this really is just the beginning of something that's bigger. It's really just the beginning of something that's bigger. If you look at this similar kind of idea, okay? Not that this is as big as this, but in comparison to this consolidation phase, this was a lot larger, okay? Whenever you broke the larger consolidation phase, you ran up, you had a little pullback, and then you continued going on with that move, right? I think this here is all part of some greater move. And I don't think that it stops at 510 to 550, but that is your next stopping point, right? Let's go. I want to take the high, this high, not the all-time high, to the all-time low. I want to take that high there. I'm going to take the all-time high and just see if that gets more respect. That's pretty well respected. They both have respect at key areas. I like this one more. So we'll take it. All-time high to all-time low fib. It makes sense to be more respected. Your minimum target there would be $872 essentially. $872. So just so we're aware, right? I think that we will stop at 510 to 550, somewhere in this area here. Consolidate whatever, but you definitely have higher prospects, right? Breaking out to new all-time highs. I don't think you stop until 855. You likely, that's your minimum target you likely will inevitably see $1,200 and beyond. A good kind of rule of thumb, especially in crypto, is that you see the 1618 to the 2272. I don't know if Coinbase will be worth $11,700 by the end of the cycle, but what's its market cap, right? What's its market cap is, if I can find it, market cap 68 billion. $68 billion. So a 10x from here would give it a $680 billion market cap. I don't know if it sees that. I don't know about that, right? 10x would be 680. This would be over a trillion at 4,000. So I personally don't think 4,300 is on the table. Again, the average crypto or crypto-related stocks, they can see their 1618s and their 2272s. I mean, look at MicroStrategy, for example, right? Or even some crypto mining stocks. But this one, I doubt it gets above its 1618. So let's put this back down to the primary target zone. I think 871 at a minimum is a decent minimum, but I think you've definitely crushed that. 2100, 2200 as the maximum. I'm down with that. Something around $1,000 just above it at about 12 to 1300. I could see that. And oftentimes with the 1414, you do reach just above it. So let's see if we could make any sense out of that if you were to reach just above the 1414. I mean, maybe 1600. Maybe 1800, maybe you reach for the 618. You could reach for that 1618. I don't know. I feel pretty strongly about 12 to 61 to 2145. I feel pretty strongly about that. I think that's where you're going to go. So that's the cycle ending prediction. I've given you the short-term time frame stuff, right? Any day now, maybe this week. If not by the end of this week, I think sometime by the end of next week, I suspect that we would be breaking out of this little kind of wedge that you have here. Again, maybe not by the end of this week. We have 2 days left, but sometime next week, we could be breaking out of this. Prices to get excited for. Let's just see if we take a high here to a low there. You know, if you see prices above $335, it's time to get excited again. Relatively exciting once you get back above $300, of course, $310 there, but I think the real number is $335. You get above there on a daily closing basis, $335. And again, guys, we're looking for targets that are at least at $480, but more likely somewhere around $510 to $550. I suspect that target, $510 to $550, will be where you're at by the end of March, and then progressing higher, probably to $800 and beyond once we're in, you know, the end of April, end of May, maybe even in June to kick off the summer, and then ending the cycle with targets that are well above $1,000, maybe even just above $2,000 going into the end of the year. I've got nothing else for you guys. You know, if I'm wrong about this, my only thoughts would be that I'm not bullish enough and that it goes higher. So that's my final thoughts. That's my final words. Hit the like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. If you want to invalidate me and go to the downside, right? I was only talking about validating, but if you want to invalidate me, get below your 382. Close a day below 250. You close a day below 250 and everything I've said is wrong. You're probably going down to about $203, if not $190, somewhere in there, if you get below 250. Not a price below 250, but a daily close below 250. All right. Cool. Take it easy. Bye-bye.